Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew.
And this is Jeremy.
And you're listening to the Culips English podcast. We've got a simplified speech episode for you today, everyone. And if you're new to Culips and you don't know what simplified speech is, well, let me explain. It is our series that features clear, natural, and easy to understand conversations. And today I'm joined by my co-host, Jeremy. Hey there, Jeremy.
Hey there, Andrew. So today we are going to talk about nighttime routines.
Nighttime routines, yeah.
But before we get into that, I just want to remind everyone that there is a study guide for this episode available for all Culips members. We recommend following along with the study guide as you listen. Just visit culips.com to find out how to download it.
And if you're not a Culips member yet, but you'd like to check out our study guides and see why they are such an awesome resource for studying English, then all you have to do is visit culips.com. And where you want to navigate to, everyone, is you should select the study guide samples option from the membership menu. And then you're actually able to download and check out 6 free study guide samples. Take a look, and I think you're going to love them.
So, in this episode, we are talking about nighttime routines. And I think the first thing that would be helpful to mention to our listeners is that the word nighttime is actually one word.
Yeah, so this is one of those interesting spellings in English where we can put night and time together to make one word. And when you read this word, it actually looks a little bit strange because there are 2 T's in the middle of the word, right? Night ends with a T and time begins with a T. Mm-hmm. And so when we put this word together and spell it, there are those 2 T's right in the middle of the word. It kind of looks a little strange.
And there are other words like this that have time attached to the end, like bedtime and daytime. So anyway, let's talk about what nighttime means. I would say that nighttime usually begins after you finish work, probably around dinner time. That is the beginning of nighttime. And in different parts of the world, it doesn't always get dark at the same time. So it doesn't necessarily mean darkness.
Yeah, I think for this episode, we're talking about nighttime routines. Let's set our definition as starting at 5 p.m., Jeremy. So we'll go from 5 p.m. to bedtime. We'll talk about this nighttime period because I think 5 p.m. is traditionally the end of the workday. Although, these days, I don't personally know too many people that stop working at 5 p.m. And if I could do that, I would love it. I'm jealous of people who get to stop working at 5 p.m. That sounds awesome. But, okay, let's get into our personal routines, Jeremy. Now, I know you have a young son. Mm-hmm. How old is he now? 2, 3 years old, a little toddler, right?
Yeah, he's almost 3.
Almost 3. So I imagine, now I'm saying this from an outsider perspective because I don't have children, but I would imagine that you have a pretty standard routine for nighttime with your son. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say that we do. A little bit less routine than other people we know. But in general, this is how our routine goes. We have dinner, and after dinner, we will usually give him a bath or a shower. And after that, we read a book to him, and then we put him to bed, or we help him go to sleep, put him to bed. After that, my wife and I will do some chores around the house and get ready for bed ourselves. We usually brush our teeth, wash our face, shower if we need to, and read a book before we go to bed until we fall asleep.
Okay. So you have, sounds like more of a set routine than I do.
What is your nighttime routine like? Or do you have a routine?
I have a very rough routine. Which means that a rough routine means that I have some guidelines and I have some things that I would like to do, but that I don't always achieve. I actually think that routines can be really powerful in our lives, especially when we have goals that we are trying to work towards.
Definitely.
So in my life, I have some goals like learning Korean and becoming a faster runner and becoming a better podcaster and better teacher. I have these goals in my life, and when I follow a routine and when I have structure, I find that I'm able to make big gains towards achieving these goals. And I'm pretty good with my morning routine, Jeremy, but I'm not very good with my evening and nighttime routine.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is that I have too much variation from night to night to night.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, some nights I have night classes where I'm actually working at night until around 9 p.m. So that really makes it difficult to have a structure in the evening, because I do that 2 nights a week. I work until 9 p.m. and 1 night a week I work until 7 p.m. And also my girlfriend regularly has to work at night. And I always like to talk with her at the end of the day before I go to sleep. But if she's working until 10 or 11 p.m. at night, which to be honest is not that unusual here in Korea, that means that I have to stay up until she gets home. So if she's working until 11 p.m., she might not get home until 11:30 p.m. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that because my day fluctuates from day to day to day, it's hard to have that structure in the evening. So, for example, I can't really set a bedtime goal. Like, I want to go to sleep every night at 10:30 p.m. I would love to have this structure, but it's really hard for me to follow.
Yeah, I think having a child kind of forces you to make that routine.
Yeah, maybe you don't have the option like I do. Like, you have to do it when you have a kid.
Yes, I don't have that option. We do not have that option.
So you said that you read at night before sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And do you read at night just because that's the most comfortable time for you to read? Or do you do it as a way to wind down and actually help your body get ready to sleep?
Actually, both of those reasons are true for me. I like to read at that time because my son is asleep, which means there is silence and I can actually enjoy what I'm reading. But also, it definitely does help me to wind down and sleep much better. I actually have noticed that the act of moving my eyes back and forth across the page kind of makes me tired, and it helps me to fall asleep much faster.
It's almost like you're hypnotizing yourself into sleep.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. Are there any things you do to help yourself fall asleep?
Good question. Yes, I suppose there are some things that I do to try and help myself fall asleep. For example, I try to make my room dark. So I will turn off all the lights in my apartment. And I've also noticed that for whatever reason in my apartment, there are lots of just little lights on appliances, which drives me bonkers. So, for example, I have a fan in my room, and that fan has some little LED lights on it. And I have a power bar on my floor where I can plug different electrical things into to extend my outlet. And that also has a bright orange LED light on that power bar. And my coffee machine has a little LED light, and my fire alarm has a little LED light. They're just all over the place. And that really disrupts my sleep. Having these lights on is really bright. So I've gone around and put electrical tape, which is that black, dark tape, over all of those little LED lights to try and block them out because they're really annoying.
Yeah.
And I try to just make my room dark before sleeping to convince my brain to follow its natural circadian rhythm and to get sleepy and go to bed.
Do you use blackout curtains?
I do not have blackout curtains, no. I do have some thick curtains, but they're not perfect. Now, in the past, I have used a sleep mask that I would put over my eyes to really try and make it as dark as possible for me when sleeping. But to be honest with you, it wasn't really effective because I would always wake up in the morning and the mask would be on the floor. So at some point during my sleep, I would just take it off because I guess it was uncomfortable. So I've stopped using that, but yeah, I've blocked out the LED lights. I closed my curtains, and I've also changed my computer screen and phone screen settings so that the blue light is reduced at nighttime.
Nice.
I've heard some scientists say that blue light can keep us up at night. So I thought, wow, I need to get rid of that blue light. So I've done that.
Yeah, I can definitely say that that is true for me. Blue light especially is detrimental to my quality of sleep.
So last question here, Jeremy,
Sure.
And then we'll wrap things up. To end the night, you're in bed, you're reading, and does sleep come quickly for you in the evening? And I guess this is a two-part question. Does sleep come easily? And do you usually go to bed at the same time every night, or does it vary a little bit?
Well, these days, since now my son has a regular sleeping pattern, I also have a regular sleeping pattern. But when he was a little baby, that was not the case. I'm sure anyone who has a child knows that. But babies sometimes do not sleep very regularly. So he would wake up in the middle of the night, and so my wife and I would also wake up, and I had very irregular sleep for a couple of years. But now that is not the case, so thankfully I am able to fall asleep around the same time every night, usually between 10 and 11. And to your other question, when I was younger, I had a lot of trouble falling asleep at night. But now that I'm older, I think I'm able to fall asleep much more quickly. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I would love to fall asleep at the same time every night. I would love to have a schedule, like fall asleep every night at 10:30, wake up every day at 6:30, something like that would be awesome. But at this point in my life, I can't do it. I've failed every attempt I've had to do this. So instead, I have a kind of window. I usually try to be in bed before midnight. I think if I'm up after midnight, it's usually not that good and I'm tired the next day. So every day I try to be in bed by midnight, and it depends. I can't say that I fall asleep really easily. If I've had a long, heavy day of work, and especially if I've done some exercise, then usually I fall asleep quite easily. But if I'm busy or stressed out or just have a lot on my mind, then sometimes it's harder to fall asleep, and I kind of toss and turn for a while before I finally do doze off. So that is one of the reasons why I really enjoy running, running hard and running fast during the day, because it almost always guarantees that I will fall asleep easily at night.
That is true for me too, I have noticed. And for my son, actually. When he runs around a lot during the day, he falls asleep much more quickly and much more deeply at night.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I think
Yeah.
that is perfectly logical. Yeah. So we'll wrap things up here, everyone. Thanks for listening to us, and thanks for studying English with us today. I know sometimes it can be hard to get your English study time in, but you can feel good about today because you got your English study time and practice time in. So that is awesome. If you enjoy Culips and if you learn a lot with us, then please support us. You can do that by signing up to become a Culips member. And for all the details, just visit culips.com, our website. But that's not the only way that you can support us. It would be really helpful for us, and we'd really appreciate it if you could tell your friends who are learning English about Culips. Or you could follow us on social media or leave us a nice review and a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. That would go a very long way as well. If you have any questions or comments for us, feel free to reach out and send us a message. Our email address is contact@culips.com. We'll be back soon with another brand new Culips episode, and we'll talk to you then. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.